Hey guys, it's Alyssa with Align Messages. Thank you so much for being here with me today. We are in the most beautiful pasture, and I am so happy to be here. I literally hiked to get here, guys. So if you see any wildlife in the background, please let me know. As some of you may know, I did just recently move back home to the East Coast. I was living in Los Angeles for about 3 years, and I just felt like it was time to share my stories and let you guys know what I learned, why I left, and where I'm at now. About a year ago, I made one of the biggest decisions of my life to leave LA and to move back to the East Coast. I didn't know what to expect, but I found healing, I found peace, and I got a new outlook on life. And I'm so thankful for my journey, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. So, in the beginning of my transition back home, I didn't feel sad to leave because, when you move across the country from one coast to another, you fly a lot more frequently. And to be honest, I just realized like, if I want to get on a plane and visit LA or go back, I can. So, what did I learn by living in LA? Well, I learned a lot. Living in LA elevated my taste exponentially, from food, design, art, fashion, culture. It's like a different world living in a big city. I mean, I came from a very southern rural town in North Carolina, and I was absolutely in culture shock. I mean, when I got off the plane, it was like the smoggiest day ever, and I cried. I was like, I don't know what I just did. Am I really going to be happy here? What did I just do? I had so many doubts, but I'm glad that I stuck it out because I did actually fall in love with LA, and LA will always be home to me. And it's so funny because I thought I was bougie and upper echelon before. Yeah, no. It's like real life now. Like that place elevates you. I've become so more attuned to the beauty in everything. Whether it's food, a piece of art, music, doesn't matter. Literally anything. It's expanded my life experience, but definitely my creativity and just my eye for creation. If we did see a family of deer in the back, I wouldn't be upset about that. That would actually make me really happy. But one thing I really loved about LA is just how inspired you feel by just stepping outside of your door. Like you could literally just take out the trash, and your neighbor across the street will have the most prestigious artwork just hanging out. Or some random stranger will come walking down the sidewalk with the most beautiful fashion sense ever. I just love how everyone in LA is so inspiring. I mean, not everyone. I need to preface that. But if you know the places to go, you will be inspired everywhere you step. For me, that would be Los Feliz, Silver Lake, Echo Park. I'm that type of girly. A lot of people compare those neighborhoods to be very similar to Brooklyn in New York. And I can definitely see it. What inspired me a lot too about being in LA is you are surrounded by people who work their ass off. Like everyone is grinding, everyone is hustling, everyone is putting themselves in the mix, taking risks, getting out there. And that is so important for young people to be surrounded by. I think it's so important for people to leave their hometown and explore and get out because you really don't know what's out there until you experience it. And I'm really glad that I had this experience. I love how people express themselves in bigger cities, but especially LA. I can confidently say I've been influenced to do the same. I mean, I discovered a new part of myself. I discovered a new fashion sense. I feel super confident in who I am. And I think a big part of my confidence comes from the clothes I dress in, how I style myself. I really love that people in bigger cities like LA, they push the limits and they're not afraid to try new things. And it's really cool to see. I really did feel on fire there. And if I sit in that long enough, I can feel it again. And I know I can go back if I want, but I just don't really know what's next for me right now. I'm still in the process of figuring out where I'm going to go next, but I'll expand on that a little more in the video. I just feel like small towns don't always encourage people to discover and find themselves because a lot of the lifestyle is the same. It's a lot of the same values, the same work field, you know? It can become a bit repetitive. And, I think creative people can get bored of that. So, one of the biggest things I always heard was be careful, people in LA are fake, and you don't want to be like that, right? I have run into the leeches, I have run into the fakes, but I don't stay in that energy very long. I mean, it's impossible to not run into fake people in LA. And what I mean by fake are really what you see a lot is people who use you. A very common conversation opener that I would get a lot is, "So, what do you do for work?" "Oh, do you know them?" It's like they're checking your pockets. They want to know who you work for, if you work for yourself, how much money you make, and who you know. It can be very shallow and surface level, but like I said, the minute I saw that, the minute I caught the red flag, I said, yeah, I'm going to tell this person minimal information and I'm going to move along, and I don't have to be around that energy if I don't want to. Like, honestly, being in LA really taught me quality over quantity. I am a Libra. I am a social butterfly. I can make friends with a brick wall. And I'm so serious. But honestly, the more you're around those leeches, the more refined your circle becomes. And I was perfectly fine with that. So, why did I leave LA? Well, this is a very touchy subject for me, but I was overwhelmed and feeling very stressed, and I felt very imbalanced. I did not want to leave, but my spirit just kept telling me to go home. So I listened. And honest to God, that was one of the hardest decisions I think I've ever had to make in my life. I love LA. Like I said, LA is my home. People that live there are my home. So it was very hard to close that door and trust spirit and walk through another path. It was a very hard challenge, but ultimately it's like when spirit keeps laying it on your heart to do something, you have to listen, or you're going to continue to be tested with karmic lessons. And that's just something I did not want to endure. So, because of that, I am glad that I listened. It feels like I, passed the level of the video game. So, what have I learned by being home? What am I doing? How am I doing? Moving back home to the East Coast has felt very liberating and free. The convenience of shopping and traveling is definitely different from being in the busy bustle and hustle of LA. But I think what is most important is the internal change that I've experienced. I've been in hermit mode for the past year. I've been very isolated. I have not really gone out much. I can count on one hand how many times I went out to have a drink with a friend. I did travel back and forth from Raleigh to Wilmington because I have family there, but my encounters with other people were very minimal this year. And honestly, my spirit guides is like every time I would want to leave the house or do something or force myself into something, they'd be like, yeah, no. You are confined to these four walls and you need to sit down and rest and reflect. The biggest lesson I've learned: surrendering control. I've had a lot of time to reflect on who I am, what I want in life, and, how I'm going to get there. Quite comical because I thought that when I was moving home, I was going to create an album. I was going to have this creative surge overflow me and I was going to get it done. And that is not quite what happened. I mean, I did have creative surges come over me and I have written a couple songs that I'm working on for my EP. But ultimately, my spirit guides were like, girl, you need to rest and recover, okay? I had to really surrender to realize, okay, they're actually setting me up for success. They want me to be in my feminine, receiving, restful energy so that I can create freely. And I actually just talked about the art of femininity in my last video I posted, so definitely go check that out. But yeah, now I'm just living in my divine feminine, and I'm creating with joy, and I'm creating without limits, and I'm doing what I please, and it feels very nice. I want to just say I am very blessed that I even have the opportunity to rest and think, because so many people do not have that blessing. And I am so grateful that my parents have been so giving and nurturing to me during this time, and they've allowed me the space to figure it out, and they've been encouraging, and they haven't, pressed me or forced me to move along and get right back into the rat race of life. Very thankful for that, and I do not take that for granted at all. It is a luxury to go slow, and I recognize that. Living back here, surrounded by cows grazing in the pasture and hearing crickets at night versus sirens, it really soothes your nervous system. I think everyone's different when it comes to their experience of moving back home, but mine has genuinely been so peaceful and grounding. I think that North Carolina is a beautiful state, and I wish that more people could experience this. I mean, we have the beaches, we have the hills, and we have the mountains. I've also taken time to reconnect with my family, and that has really helped heal our family dynamic. It's been nice. I mean, I am the black sheep of the family. I'm the eldest of four. I tend to push the limits and bring new age thinking to our family dynamic. And honestly, I'm thankful for that, because if not for me and my mouth and my mindset, I don't know if our family would have this movement forward. And I think each person in my family brings something different to the table. I'm not saying that my family members don't also heal in their own ways, but I do think that my mindset and my new age thinking really brings some type of force to my family. It's been an honor to take on this role. I also want to talk about astrocartography for a second. So, if you have not heard of astrocartography, you need to go look up your chart, because it tells you, according to the planetary pathway, it tells you what you'll experience in different places that you live. So I'm on my Uranus line. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. Aquarius is very unconventional, outside of the box thinking. They're very new age and different. And so living here, and they're also air signs, free spirited, free to roam. And that's genuinely what I've experienced here. I really do feel like I'm living my free spirited lifestyle, and it feels nice. I've also been overwhelmed with new concepts, new inventive ideas. So that's been really cool. I definitely have a newfound appreciation for where I'm from. It's so funny because in LA, people will cosplay blue collar and workwear. And when I started picking up on that, I was like, wait, that's literally where I'm from. Like, so it did give me a sense of pride. I'm not even going to lie to you. And to be honest, I didn't appreciate the slower paced lifestyle, the southern lifestyle, as much as I do now. It's opened my eyes to a few different things. I am very proud of where I come from. It is literally gorgeous. I think one thing that was a culture shock to me was people don't always smile and wave like we do here in the South. I love that about us. You might not know if we genuinely mean it, but at least we try. I think sometimes it takes leaving to truly appreciate what you have, or, where you're from. It's like the saying goes, you don't know what you have until it's gone. But moving across the country did teach me that if I can do it once, I can do it again. And I don't have a fear anymore of moving anywhere. Seriously. I've been contemplating Spain, touring Europe, New York, Mexico City. I don't know. We'll see. All I know is this part of my life is about me setting myself up for success. I am setting myself up for success. I'm listening to where I'm being called, and I'm going, and I'm doing those things. I am also leaning into creation, leaning into this feminine energy and not thinking too much about the process or the outcome. I think that's where I've gotten so caught up and held up. And I also want to say that living in LA, you do get really comfortable. I mean, I was around a lot of successful people. So it's like being in and doing all those fun things and being surrounded by people in the industry. Well, you look around and you're like, oh, I guess I made it. I don't have to really work on my craft. Like, I'm here. And that was not how I should have looked at that. I should have still been diligent. And I mean, I was. I was still a very hard worker. And I did find a path there. But I know that I am capable of so much more, and I have so many more dreams and desires and goals for myself that I think that being in that city distracted me a little more than it should have. I think the beautiful part of my life right now is like I'm just creating when I feel led to, whatever that may be. And it's bringing me a lot of peace and joy. And I can't wait to take this knowledge into the next chapter of my life, even if that means that I do go back to LA. I don't know. I love it there so much. I miss it every day, but we'll see. So, if there's anything specifically about my LA experience that I didn't talk about or that you want to know more of, please leave me a comment or another video suggestion. I could talk about this experience all day long. Thank you guys for being here with me today. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this post. I am sending you my love, and I will see you guys very soon.